Hello, welcome to whatever time and space that you are in. My name is Alyssa, and I'm here with Tony. And this is just a little bit of a movement-based, yoga-based offering using a different camera, so still trying to figure out like lighting and all of those things. But I figure at very least this will be an audio usage for maybe some of us. I've been thinking a lot about why practice, why do a metaphysical practice, why do a yoga practice, etc. A question that I come back to again and again when I think about why teach, really why to be intentional about anything. I've been thinking recently about the cultivation of hope and truly just like how powerful it is to hope, and how sometimes hope can be sort of glamorized as naive or sort of seen as like not being in touch with what is real. And so I just want to put forth the idea that hope doesn't have to have a super shit-eating grin on its face every time that it's around. That what I'm trying to get at more is just a cultivation of contentment, a cultivation of gratitude, and a cultivation of that side of the perspective of things from time to time. I know that for me, it is not easier to choose to be inside of hope and joy. It is usually easier to see what we might qualify more as the dark or negative side of things. And so I just want to offer the opportunity that joy might just be as simple as imagining that there is space for plausible futures, imagining contentment in the future. It doesn't necessarily, as we manifest it, have to arrive immediately to be worthy of practicing. And so today we're going to focus a little bit on beginning, right? On really sort of like seeding things, offerings that we often do towards the beginning of more active classes, and work a little bit into the shoulders and hips, internal and external spaces of the body. As always, this practice is for you, so feel free to use it however you'd like. It might just be a kitchen timer that you use for your own practice or your own meditation of some other sort. You're always welcome to and encouraged to change the shapes to your own creative needs, your own health and wellness needs, to do the poses differently as you find them in your body or based on other education that you have that informs the way you move. Please allow for that, make space for it. It is intended and assumed that you will be kind to yourself, that you will take good care, that you are inside of wellness work, right? So the idea is always to be kind. All right, I think that's all that I have to say about that. I like to get started in a seat. You might choose to get started standing. You could also choose to start your practice from a lying down position or from a shape like child's pose. I like to begin with chanting, so sitting or standing is usually where I start. And today I'll just offer that we might begin with 3 rounds of the seed sound of Om. Om is the sound of the universe, the idea of sort of secular, universal, resonant sound. If oming or chanting isn't for you, always feel free to sit with us in presence instead. Remember, it's a non-performative utterance. It doesn't have to sound good to be of use. You're welcome to close your eyes or to gaze down or forward at one soft spot in space. Let your hands fall into relative neutral. Set your spine up in a way that feels sustainable, not overly managed or curated, but neutral in its stacking and floating essence. To clear and prepare the energetic channel of the body, take an inhale through the nose and open your mouth to exhale, HA. Inhale, prepare for Om. Take a long inhale in through your nose and a slow exhale out. You might choose to remain in a seat. You might choose to come to a child's pose-like shape. I'll offer more of those throughout class. You might stay on your back or on your side or in a chair if you're in one of those positions, or standing up. And we'll do our pratyahara exercise, our turning inward to that internal point of view. Begin to notice what it is you're paying attention to. what you're focusing the eye of your mind on. You might notice externally first. What do you see with your eyes, the backs of your eyelids perhaps? What do you hear with your ears? Taste and smell, your sense of space around you, of temperature and texture. You might layer back inward and taking your awareness and drawing it down into the internal body, right? Where are the tightnesses or holds? Right? What do you feel about the stacking of your bones? Do you feel your organs in your abdominal cavity? Do you notice your breath flowing in and out organically? You might move down into the energetic self. What is the mood or quality, the gesture or attitude of this time, of this action? How are things in that scape of awareness? Maybe you have a specific practice you tune in with wheels spinning or chakras turning, etc. You might notice also the thinking mind. What are you thinking about? Why are you thinking it? Where are the patterns of thought that you can recognize right away? Imagination is a thought pattern. In a certain way, hope is a thought pattern as well. And so just acknowledging which patterns are most present, which ones you're giving your attention to. Remember to continue your auditory expansion, noticing not only the thinking mind, but also self-creation, memory, and how we sort of take the thinking mind and walk it around through our identity. And start to think about and notice what is listening to the thoughts and the experiences and the sensations, and who that is, right? That witness consciousness, that unopinionated, untempered, clear awareness of how things really are. We try again and again to seek that sense of witness, that sense of perspective, imagining, leaving space for new samskaras, for new patterns, new fluctuations of nature to emerge, keeping in mind that they have some probability of being in some way more preferable than what was before. And there's space for more and new. On your next inhale, flutter your eyes open. Your next exhale, tune into what's around you. And if you're standing, you might make your way to a seat to join us or do arm exercises from standing position. If you're in child's pose, you might crawl to a seat. You're welcome to sit up on something, a block or a bolster. Inhale, breathing. Slowly take your arms out to the sides and up overhead. And on your exhale, let your arms just come right back down. So you can go at the pace of your own breath, creating Ujjayi pranayama right away. Inhaling through your nose and exhaling through your nose. And your arms might be mimicking your shoulders, your ribs, and your lungs. They go out as they go up. The inhale inflates. They go out as they go down. And it's okay for your shoulders to rise up. They usually will. The closer your arms get to your ears, you start to meet compression that doesn't feel so good. Let it go. Notice that your arms have to rotate if you want to bring your palms towards each other on the way up and rotate again on the way down. The next time your arms are up on an inhale, use the exhale to twist to your right. You might bring your left hand towards your right knee and your right hand behind you. Turn your heart chest gaze around to look behind you. If you're turning your eyes, just make sure it's not a crank of your jaw or neck. Think about stabilizing your pelvis and its front-facing nature so you have something to twist away from. As you breathe, experiment with the stack. Sometimes it feels good to lean back or lean forward on purpose. Sometimes we try to sort of find that plumb line in the middle to ring on that edge. Next exhale or two, return to center. Inhale, take your arms out and up, reaching upward, and go to the other side. Exhale to the left, right hand comes down, turn to twist. Remember, you don't have to be super deep in action physically for it to be effective. In fact, sometimes there's a sort of percentile of ineffectiveness because it's too deep, creates tension or reaction. Continue to breathe in and out through your nose, three-dimensionally into your lungs and ribs, as if your arms are still going up and down as they were a little bit ago. And slowly rooting into your right hip, return to center, front face your shoulders. Inhale, take your arms out and up, reaching upward. And this time, exhale, side body bend to the right. Take your right arm out and down. You might turn your palm down. You might turn your heart up. Doesn't have to be super low. If your left hip gets light, Try to relax through your lower left back and set the butt cheek down. You can always use a prop underneath your right elbow. Find a couch to lean over on. And shortening through the left side of the body, inhale your both arms up, reaching up through center. Exhale over to the left hand side, side body bending. And consider tuning your awareness back into how your body feels, particularly if you get lost. If you find the body to be not a place where ease, comfort, calm can be cultivated today, you might consider coming right into a thought or imagination that is. You might consider coming into the space you're in. Notice what's around you if it feels safe. Inhale, take both arms up overhead, reaching upward. And exhale, cactus your arms like a little baby back bend. Pull your shoulder blades down, puff the front of your ribs up. Inhale your arms up, reaching upward. And exhale slowly, bring your hands through center and fold forward, right? However, you're seated or standing, you might be in a chair. Drop your elbows, drop the weight of your head for a few breaths, let your spine round. And slowly weighting your pelvis, drag your upper body back up one bone at a time to a tall position. And if your ankles are crossed, switch the cross of your ankles and inhale to take your arms up and out overhead, reach upward. And exhale, cactus your arms to backward bend. Good, inhale the arms up, reaching up. And exhale, fold through center one more time. You might walk your hands out, hang your head, or fold over something, an object that's supportive. Good, and weight your hips, drag your head up. You slowly roll your way back up. And we'll head to a tabletop position and come forward over your knees. I'll slide my way back over here to this mat. And as you stack your joints, you can plant your hands down, shoulder distance underneath your armpits. Sometimes it feels interesting to draw the hands closer together than we kind of think they should be, or further out wide. Just notice where it feels stable. Depending on your wrist mobility, it might be kind of light in your index knuckles and your thumbs. And in that case, you might turn your fingers more out by rotating your biceps a little bit more out, away from the center line of your body. Inhale to cow pose. When you're ready, drop your belly and your ribs, lift your chin and your tailbone up. And exhale to cat, tuck your chin, round your spine, dome your shoulders. Good, inhale, cow pose. Follow your breath into the backward bent tilt. And exhale towards cat. Two more like this. Follow your breathing. Come to a neutral back. Plant down through your right hand and inhale your left arm out and then up. Reach upward. Exhale, thread the needle underneath and behind. Don't quite land. Go underneath a bit to hover, threading through that hole. Good. Go back out and up. Inhale. Stretch your left arm up. Twist left. Press into your right hand for stability. And exhale, thread the needle underneath and behind. Good. Inhale, take your arm out and then up, reaching upward. This time, find a landing point. Draw underneath and behind on the exhale. Come to the elbow, shoulder, ear, or jaw. And you might roll your right shoulder down, so you're really compressing your left arm. You might roll it up and open, taking your right arm out or up, and take it overhead and thread it behind the back. There's no better way. The better way is always in the here and now, you discerning how things are, what you need to heal yourself. Movement in many ways gives us an opportunity to create fluctuations in nature and to affect the fluctuations of our body's rhythms. And so noticing what is required isn't always a lot of work, right? You're not necessarily a big project, right? It might be small and gentle, one step at a time. If you moved your right hand, return it for purchase near your nose on the mat, and inhale your left arm out and then up, reaching upward. And exhale your left hand down to the mat. Good. Walk your hips back to your heels, your hands back to your knees. Sit your hips on your heels. You can always put a block or a bolster between your knees if you like. And inhale, take your arms out to the sides. Slip your palms up from your shoulders. Reach out. And on your exhale, wrap your right elbow underneath your left elbow. Garudasana arms. You can always grab for your shoulders with your hands or wrap the forearms. Try grabbing for your thumb or interweaving your fingers. If palms pressing feels good, feel free. Take an inhale, lift your elbows up as far as they go without any tension in your neck. And exhale, start to circle your elbows to the right and down. You could imagine a clock in front of you that your elbows are turning. Inhale them to the left and up to the top of the clock. Exhale down and over. For many of us, this would be like a frustratingly small movement. You might feel your shoulder blades kind of tick-tock around their stuck spots in the back of your rib cage. Good. The next time you feel in center, inhale, lift your ribs up, lift your elbows up, your gaze up, lean back a little, a tiny little backward bend. And exhale, fold forward, bring your elbows towards your knees, round your spine. Totally feel free to release the arms, many of us will, or to release some of the arm. Hang the hands heavier and let the upper back round. And press into your heels and inhale to rise up. And exhale to release your arms. Inhale, circle them out and up, reaching upward. And on your exhale, bring your hands through heart center, come forward into the hands and knees position, tabletop shape. Shift forward, shoulders over your wrists. Very nice. Mindfully with what's behind you, inhale, take your right leg out and long. And on the exhale, instead of dropping your right hip down, closing or squaring anything, think about lifting both sides of your pelvis straight up away from the ground. Spin your inner right thigh in a little and think about lifting with your hamstring and glutes. So you're squeezing, lower back will start to bend. Now, if you feel like that's hard to do without creating pinching in your lower back, bend your knee a little, soften your leg a little, and see if you can squeeze your butt to lift up instead. And take another inhale here, and on your exhale, bring your knee towards your chest or nose, tuck your chin around your spine, press with your hands. Inhale to reach your right leg back, maybe up, keep some tone in your low belly, that Uddiyana Bandha action. Exhale, knee to nose, navel to spine, press your thumbs into the ground. One more time, inhale, reach your right leg long. Exhale, your knee to your nose. Good. Inhale, take your leg long and back. Good. And on your exhale, curl your toes under and put the ball of your foot down on the ground back there. And inhale, shift forward through your wrist, your heart, and exhale, pump back. So you're kind of pumping with the arch of your foot. Kick your heel back, kick it forward, stretch your Achilles tendon. For some bodies, bending your knee a little bit will give it sort of a more stretch in the Achilles and less stretch in the arch of the foot. Tend not to get into these nitty-gritties of our hands and feet every time, so it's normal to feel a little odd about them, their limitations. Listen to them. Your body's just trying to tell you how you've been using it and where its structures are. Take an inhale to lift your right leg back up off the ground, and exhale, place your right knee next to your left knee. Walk your hands back to your knees, sit your hips on your heels. Good. Inhale to sweep your arms out to the sides, and exhale your left elbow under your right, cross elbows. You might cross the wrists, you might grab for your shoulders. It might be quite a tight little interaction. I actually have these handkerchiefs here, so if you find you want to grab between your hands a little cloth, that's another way to work on this. Good. And once you're in it, again, this time we're going to go counterclockwise. So inhale to lift your elbows up as far as they go without your neck feeling claustrophobic. And exhale counterclockwise to the left and down. And start to make these little circles, inhaling to the right and up, exhaling to the left and down. Normal to feel deltoid or shoulder cap speaking to you, neck, jaw. Whenever it's really claustrophobic, that's how I think of my shoulders, I guess, are tight. Continue to consider how you can make space by letting things be a little softer, easier. Doesn't have to be at the tightest knot for it to hold up. Good. Next time you're in center, use an inhale to lift your front ribs up and your elbows up. You might lift your chin up and lean back a little bit. And then your exhale, round forward, fold forward and down. You might keep the arms as they are or release them out. You might just release the hands. Let your head hang for a full breath or two into the upper back. You might even actively widen your shoulder blades away from one another. And there's a couple different ways to do that, actually. Experiment. And inhale to roll yourself up. Exhale, release your arms out. Let's use an inhale to circle them all the way out and up overhead, reaching upward. And just for the niceness of our shoulders, cactus arm back bend on the exhale. Drop your head back, pull your shoulder blades down, maybe even arms wide. Inhale, arms up, reaching upward. Exhale, hands through heart center. Come forward to a hands and knees position, tabletop shape. Stack your shoulders. And then remember to breathe. It can get quite simple to use the mind to overpower the breath, body awareness. As you feel stable in your hands and wrists once more, use an inhale to reach your left leg back and long behind you. And again, we are looking for a little bit of stability from side to side. So if you're tilting out to the edge of your right knee or shin, you might roll in the weight a little. You might feel more weight come into your left hand. Experiment with softly bending your knees. Know that you do not have to flex your ankle to straighten your legs. You might even relax your ankle. Just patterns that we tend to inset aesthetically to help train things along the way. Good. Take an inhale. On your exhale, left knee to chest, tuck your chin, round your spine, press the earth away with your hands. Inhale, extend your left leg long and maybe up. It might be straightening as you go. And exhale, round in. 2 more times like this, following your breath. Inhales take us out and up to expansion. Exhales take us down and in. And the next time your leg is out long, use an exhale to curl the toes under and land the ball of your foot on the earth. And inhale, shift forward over your wrists. And exhale to shift back. Pump through your left heel. Spread your toes. You can also turn your heel in and out, turn your thigh bone in and out from your hip socket a little bit. Play around with where it feels for you. Good. Inhale to lift your left leg up to neutral. And exhale your left knee down next to your right knee. Widen your knees if you like, and find child's pose. Sink your hips towards your heels. You can always put something between hips and heels. Pad your knees. Feel free to create a lift underneath your head or your chest. And also choose knees together for a more rounded spine. You're always welcome to take the arms out in front, palms up or down, elbows wide so shoulders can soften, jaw can release. Maybe hands back by the hips with palms facing up for rounding. As you breathe into the front of your body, you may notice where the compression, your legs or the floor or the prop meets the front of the torso. You might just sort of consider what it is to hold yourself in that way in the times that, I think honestly for all times that I've been alive anyways, there's a need for this human comfort, earnestly, safely. And what can you provide for yourself that is a joy, right? What can you hold? How can you hold yourself in that way? And whenever your body comes into contact with itself, is the compression tense? Are you always pushing? Can it be equitable? Is there a way for softness? Can you let certain parts of your body hold others? On your next inhale, come forward into your tabletop position once more. And on your exhalation, curl your toes under. Inhale, cow pose. Exhale, downward dog. Lift your knees up and back and begin to move in down dog shape. Now you can always do down dog with your hands on a chair. If load bearing in the upper body is not for you, or up against a wall, send your tail up and back, press into your hands. You're always welcome to bend your knees and lift your hips, especially if lifting the heels frees the sitting bones upward. Creates more length in your tailbone, more length in your spine. Notice if your neck or jaw seam is dominant, holding your head up, trying to control your body weight. Try to let your head hang. And just like tabletop, turn your hands in and out, play around with distance between hands and feet. Figure out where your stability is in down dog. In fact, let's take an inhale out into a plank position, upward push-up position, and right away use an exhale to put your knees down. Now, plank on the knees might feel a lot like table. You might walk your hands forward a little bit more so it feels like a push-up position. Take an inhale, and on your exhale, bend your elbows in and back. Lower just a few inches, nowhere near as low as you can, I'm sure. Good. Inhale, press yourself back up, and exhale, lower just a few inches. Now, your elbows, you want them to go a little bit back, but they're still going to flare out to the sides in most bodies. Inhale, press yourself up. And this time, exhale, come all the way down, maybe chest and chin, maybe straight to the belly. We'll come forward for Cobra. Slide your pelvis to the ground, tops of your feet down. Inhale, lift your heart up. And exhale, bring your chin or forehead down, right? And your hands can be anywhere. Inhale, peel your heart forward and up. Exhale, lower to the earth. Do it one more time, following your own breath. Inhale takes you out and up. And exhale will go down and in. Once you're down on the earth, chin or forehead, curl your toes under and plug your knees down. Inhale through plank on the knees. And exhale back towards downward facing dog pose. Good. Spin your tail up, relax your neck down. All right. And take an inhale, bend your knees, gaze forward. And exhale, walk your feet up to your hands and hang in forward folding. Relax the jaw, the head, the neck. You might grab for opposite elbow with opposite hand, or let your palms flip up. Sometimes doing this from a seated position on a chair can give you more space. Breathe into the back and side ribs. And exhale to release your hands down. We'll take a halfway lift. Inhale and roll your heart forward. Please feel free to bend your knees and press your hands into your legs or the earth. Exhale, forward fold. Let's do that 2 more times, a lot like cow and cat. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana, or half fold. Exhale to fold into your legs or body. One more time with your own breath. Soften your knees. Let's step the right foot back so the left foot stays forward at the front of the mat, and drop your right knee down to the earth. You can untuck your toes if you wish, bring the top of your foot down, or pad your knee by folding your mat over if you like. Put your right hand down and inhale your left arm up. So twist towards your left leg, reaching upward. You might gaze upward past your top fingertips and just notice what you're paying attention to. Exhale your left hand to your left knee, press into it, and inhale, sit your body up, bring your right hand to your left knee. Exhale by exhale, send your pelvis forward and down, usually a big stretch in the top of that back right leg. Kick down into the top of your right foot. Notice is one side more heavy than the other. It will be maybe not necessarily about evenness all the time or straightness in our angles. Instead, just noticing what balances you're already striking. Reach your right arm up on the inhale, stretch it up towards the sky or the ceiling. And exhale to side body bend towards the left, lengthening over, just tilting as far as feels reasonable. Good. Inhale, back up through center, and exhale, release 2 hands down to frame your front foot. Curl your right toes under, lift your right knee up off the mat. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, with one or many steps, your right foot forward to the top of your mat, hang in forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Soften your knees and step your left foot back. Drop your left knee down to the earth. Left hand down, inhale your right arm up, twisting to the right. Now try to allow heaviness in your right heel. Kick down into the top of your left foot. If you turn to twist, you might rotate your gaze up or hang your head down just as much as you would like. Notice if the breathing can be free, the face can be soft. Is there imagination of these things? And release on the exhale your right hand to your right knee thigh, and inhale, press into it to pull yourself up, putting your left hand on your left knee. Exhale by exhale, shift your pelvis forward. Good. And you start to feel like your front knee is overly compressed. You can take a wider step between your front heel and your back knee. You can also just back it up a little bit and work in that space. As you're ready, inhale, take your left arm up, reaching upward. Exhale by exhale, side body bend over to the right. You can go a little more forward or back depending on where you feel sensation and how it's informing you. And always look up underneath your shoulder, hang your head down. Breathing. Notice the ground beneath you, that sense of structure, sthira, what you need to do to press into gravity to create ease in the upper body so it can go over without tension. And inhale back through center. Take both arms up. And exhale, bring both hands down to frame your front foot. Curl your back toes under and lift your back knee up off your mat. Inhale, look forward, prepare. With one or many steps, exhale to go forward, left foot meets the right. Inhale, halfway lift, unroll your heart. Exhale, forward fold. Walk your feet out, mat's distance, spin your heels in, your toes out, and squat down, malasana or mandukasana. You can sit on a block or the earth if you like. You can also lift your heels or roll up a mat for underneath the heels, toes hanging off. You can put your hands on the ground or hands at heart center. Lift the center of your heart up towards your thumbs as you press your elbows out. Notice if your neck feels short in the back seam, you could tuck your chin as you lift your heart towards it just by degrees. Take another big free inhale. And exhale, fold forward, lift your hips up, walk your feet to a stable place underneath your hips. Inhale, halfway lift, unroll your heart. Exhale, forward fold. Plant your hands and step your feet back to plank position, upward push-up shape. Good. Take a big free inhale. And on your exhale, bend your left knee and drop it down to the earth. And then pick up your left foot and turn it out to the left behind you for side plank. Roll your right heel down and inhale your right arm up. Yeah, now you can keep your right foot on the ground or lift your right leg up. You're always welcome to reach up and around to take any sort of binding that you like. If you're looking for more like muscular engagement here, you want to do like more plank, press into your right foot and see if you can get your left knee to hang instead of doing the version that you maybe usually do. Good. All right, take a big free inhale. And exhale to release your right hand down. Let's return to plank. Send your left leg back, inhale. And on your exhale, right knee down. Send your right foot out and behind. Roll the heel of your left foot down and inhale your left arm up. Come to balance weight in your right hand. You can always choose a version with elbow down instead of knee. There's lots of good variations of Vashisthasana, and you're welcome to any one of them. Again, here might be a stability point. You might choose to lift your elongated leg up, a different kind of sort of flag blowing in the wind balance. You're always welcome to try plugging down through your left heel and floating your right knee. Notice what is required of different tactics, and is it worth it? What are you gaining? What are you practicing? Next couple of exhales, let's return the left hand to the earth and roll the left heel up. Step your right foot back, take an inhale in the plank position. And this time exhale to lower all the way down to the belly. You're welcome to do knees, chest, chin, and knees to the body down. Inhale, Cobra, Bhujangasana, lift your heart forward and up. And exhale, bring your chin or forehead down. Let's find Sphinx pose. Bring your elbows underneath your armpits to lift your upper body up. Instead of Cobra, We find forearms on the ground to balance, like the Sphinx in Egypt. And as you press the tops of your feet down, lift your heart up. Yeah. And you can always choose to walk your arms even further out long in front to drop the body more down. You can always choose to take your arms further out to the sides to accommodate the shoulder blade and its shapes. Take an inhale, lift your heart forward and up as if through your shoulders. And exhale, drop your chin, let your head hang forward and down. Now see if you can keep pulling your heart up just by degrees towards your face, pulling your shoulder blades down your back and letting your head hang. You can nod your head no gently there, like you're making little crescent moons with your chin along your chest. Then inhale, pull your heart forward, up and through. Lift your chin, your gaze if you wish, and exhale slowly. Walk your hands back underneath your shoulders. Curl your toes under. And inhale from knees or toes through a plank position. And exhale back to downward facing dog pose. Good. All right. And take an inhale. Bend your knees and gaze forward. And on the exhale, walk your feet up to your hands. Hang in forward folding shape. Inhale, halfway lift, unroll your heart. Exhale, forward folds. Choose your feet for Utkatasana, the fierce pose or chair. You might choose feet hips distance. You might bring them together, any point in between. Sink your hips on an exhale, bend your knees, and inhale your arms out, forward, or up overhead. Stick your tail out, rock your weight back. It's okay if your knees roll out and away from one another. Also roll your sitting bones out and away from one another so you feel like you're balanced in that structure. Relax through the inner groin if you can, and instead lift up the floor of your pelvis. Relax your jaw. Remember, the arms are just aesthetic for most of this. What is your spine doing? Just feel free to take a different option. Take a big free inhale. Start to stand up by straightening your knees. Urdhva Hastasana, arms up pose. Reach up, maybe gaze up. Exhale, Samastitihi. Let your arms come by your sides. Stand in neutral. Tadasana, mountain pose. Samastitihi means same standing. So take a few breaths, maybe with eyes on one spot or lids fluttered down, to notice again the intention. How are you utilizing your mindful awareness? How are you liberating yourself, plausibly towards joy, hope, towards the imagination, towards space for cultivation? On your next inhale, lift the lids if they were closed. Inhale your arms out and up, reaching upward. And exhale, forward fold, dive down. You might bend your knees on the way. Inhale, halfway lift, unroll your heart spine. Exhale, forward fold, soften your knees and step your right foot back. Long, low lunge. And drop your right knee down to the mat. All right. Inhale, straighten your left leg to some degree for half split, half Hanuman. Flex your ankle. You might fold your upper body forward and down. Again, if there's more splitting to do in another direction, feel free to do it. Work your hamstring. Sometimes it actually helps to activate the muscle that we often think we're stretching by kicking the heel down, squeezing the quad and the hamstring back in front of the leg, and seeing how you can drive your thigh bone into the socket of your hip, drive your heel forward out of the socket. All right, keeping your left leg relatively straight, bring your left hand to the inside of your left foot or ankle. From your left hip socket, start to turn your toes in until the sole of your foot comes towards the earth and your toes face the long side of your mat. Pick up your right foot and on your right knee, turn your right foot back. We're going to come into gate pose. Walk your hands back towards your legs. And so my right knee is bent underneath me like I'm kneeling. My left leg is out long, kind of like warrior two, actually, in the back of your leg. Once you're upright over your body, inhale to take your arms out and up, reaching upward. And on your exhale, side bend to the left. You could slide your left arm down your left leg. You Might turn your gaze up and under. And I like to use this as a shoulder stretch. So for the last few breaths here, you might bend your right elbow at your top arm and kind of try to drop it behind you. Let yourself twist a little bit. Let the internal armpit stretch a little bit more. Good. Inhale your way back up through center. Reach with your right arm. Bring your left hand to your left hip. As you exhale to lean to the right, you're going to bring your right hand to the ground. And we're in that side plank we were just in a little bit ago. Yeah. From here, if you'd like, you can lift your left leg up. Take an inhale to bring your left arm up. And exhale, bend through your left knee. And bring your elbow and your knee towards one another. Inhale, extend your left arm overhead and your left leg out long, maybe touching it to the earth. And exhale, bend your elbow to your knee. We'll do this just one more time, I promise. Only 3 of them. Inhale, extend. And exhale, bend in. Keep your elbow bent. Bring the palm to the back of your head like you're trying to listen to something far away. And inhale, take your left leg out and back behind you. Extend by squeezing your butt. And exhale, pull your left leg forward. You can bend it, but this time on the axis of your body, so out long in front of your hip. Inhale, sweep your left leg back behind you. You might tilt back, lean your elbow back. And exhale, pull your left leg forward. Good. One more time. Inhale, send it out and back. I know this is super awkward. Exhale, pull it forward. Inhale, take it out long. Exhale, put it down. All right, bring your left hand to your left hip. Press into your right shin and leg. And inhale, come back up through gate pose. Good, and on the exhale, let's bring our upper body down so we can turn the right foot back and turn back towards the left leg. Half Hanuman, half split. Good, exhale, bend into your left knee and plant your left foot. Curl your right toes under and lift your right knee up off the mat. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, step forward and fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Utkatasana, bend your knees, hips low. Inhale, arms forward, outer up. 3 breaths in the fierce pose. Exhale to sit down and back. Good. Inhale to stand up through mountain pose. And exhale to Samasthiti. Bring your arms down. Inhale, circle your arms out and up, reaching upward. Good. Exhale to fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale to fold and pause. So take your arms behind you and you could interweave your fingers. You're also welcome to grab a hold of a strap, something longer. It could really be anything. I really am using bandana. And let your arms go forward and down. Do you want one?
Sure. Thank you.
And if your legs are distracting you, bend your knees, shift your weight around, relax your neck. You can also be done sitting in a chair. Really let the shoulders become free. Now, if things are really dicey, if they feel tight in the shoulders in a sort of nitty-gritty way, breathe, relax, maybe even take it back a few inches. If you feel like you've got a little room, you might sort of keep tension between your hands or between your strap and start to sort of circle from your shoulders, little figure eights, what you might imagine figure eights to be. You can imagine like Snoopy on the ice, maybe, or doodling in a school notebook. Again, you don't have to create the figure eight, just the hope the figure eight might happen. And then when you're ready, slowly exhale by exhale. Release your hands back towards your hips and release them down to hang and out of the grip and off of the strap. Inhale, halfway lift, unroll your heart. Exhale, fold, soften your knees and step your left foot back. Drop your left knee down and straighten out your right leg. So front leg straightening, half split. half Hanuman, fold over your leg. Sometimes it's nice to consider the names of the poses. Hanuman, actually a great deal of mythology and story and faith for some around that particular name, but it's supposed to be all about that loving, full of love cultivation, and full of joy, sort of hope cultivation work, even when we're doing things like the splits. Okay. Like a half lift, inhale and roll your heart, and on the exhale, bring your right hand to the inside of your right foot. Turn your right toes to the left, spin inward from the hip socket. Move your left foot back, and we'll come up to gate pose. I'm going to turn to face you. Let's see about it. Yeah, there we go. All right, inhale, take your arms out and up, reaching upward. And exhale to side body bend towards the right. Go over towards your right leg, the long leg. And take a few breaths here. You might again bend your elbow and lean your arm back, a little extra shoulder stretch. Sometimes we really find strength and stability in the inner right thigh. Sometimes there is more hip stretch than anything else in moments like these. Good. Inhale your way back through center, reaching with your left arm to the left. Exhale your right hand to your right hip and keep on tilting to the left until your left hand can come down to the mat. Yeah. And we're in that side plank action. You might work there in any way that you wish. Or starting to create a little bit of space. Lift your right leg up in line with your body. And take your right arm up and overhead. Take an inhale. And on your exhale, turn the leg out. Bend your elbow and your knee towards one another. That little sort of side body crunch. Inhale, extend your right leg over your right arm overhead. And exhale, your elbow and your knee towards one another. You can go as slow or as quick. Take as many breaths as you need or like. Inhale, extend. And exhale to pull towards one another. Good. Inhale, extend. This time, on the exhale, bend your elbow, your knee, and bring your right hand to the back of your head. Send your right leg long. Turn the thigh bone in and send the leg behind you as you extend it, like a little back bend. Inhale to open the heart. And exhale, sweep your right leg in front of you, like you're trying to bring it into that, jackknife shape. There we go. Inhale, extend your elbow out, your leg back behind you. Exhale, pull the elbow in a little as the leg comes forward. Last time, inhale and exhale. Good. Inhale the leg long and exhale your right foot down. Bring your right hand to your right hip, and you might have to walk your left hand in as you inhale to pull yourself back up through gate pose. And exhale your hands down to the earth. Let's go direct inside of your legs. Turn your left foot back, turn your right toes up, and we're coming back through our half split, our half Hanuman. When you're ready, exhale to bend your right knee, bring your body weight forward and down. Curl your back toes under, lift your back knee up off the earth. Inhale, gaze forward with one or many steps. Exhale to step forward and fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold down. Walk your feet out for squatting. Right, second, probably the last time we'll be doing this in this practice. Widen your feet as much as you need to. Lift your heart up tall. And if you like, you can take the time to let your arms go out long in front, flip your palms up, and press your arms together with your knees. Sometimes there's a limit to how far the thigh bone will let us turn in. Drop your chin forward and down, and let your breath move into the back of your heart. Return to forward folding. On the exhale, lift your hips up, hang your upper body down. Inhale, halfway lift, unroll your heart. And exhale, forward fold. All right. Let's probably about enough of a lot of this flowing stuff. We'll step back into the downward facing dog pose. You can move around there. You're welcome to do the work we're about to do from a hands and knees position. Do just a little bit of hip socket, leg lifting and opening before heading down onto the belly and back into a seat. Inhale your right leg up if you wish, and exhale, open your hip and bend your knee. You can roll your ankle around. Feel free to bend your left leg, especially if that helps you shift your weight back into it. Press with your hands, relax your neck. You might make circles with your right thigh bone and your hip socket. You might bend and straighten the leg, lift it up and over. Good, and exhale to step your right foot forward towards the space between your hands, closer to your right hand, and grab your foot and draw it up. All right, and drop your back knee down to the earth and walk your right foot out to the right. Bring your right hand to the inside for lizard lunging. You could stay here, come down to your hands or forearms. You are welcome alternatively always to take the Raja Kapotasana, the pigeon pose, or to choose something like a wide-footed forward fold, if that would feel more of use to you. Good. Curl your back toes under, lift your back knee up off the mat. Inhale to one-footed dog. Take your right leg out, up, and back. And exhale, downward dog pose. Inhale out into a plank, upward push-up position. Exhale, lower all the way down to the front seam of your body. Take your right arm straight out to the right with your palm on the earth. Look to the left and roll onto the right side. Once you've rolled over, feel free to take your left foot to the ground, to take your left arm off the ground. You don't need it to support you. If it feels really intense in your right shoulder, you might want to roll back away from that intensity a little bit so that you find a way of collaborating with your body. If you did, remove your left hand, return it to the earth, and roll back forward onto the front seam. Release your right hand under your right shoulder and take your left arm out to the left. Bring your gaze to the right and roll to the left. It might be the same from side to side. It also might require different action, different depth. For some people, there's not a lot of sensation here. If that's you, notice whether your palm is facing up or down. You might play around with that. You could also choose to walk your hand more up, in line with your head or your ear. Bend your elbow like a wing. For some of us, the feeling is more about just figuring out how to soften. And so you can always take it back in the opposite direction. It doesn't have to be about the most intense thing. And slowly, if you moved your right hand, return it. Roll back onto the front seam of your body. All right, curl your hands underneath your shoulders and inhale into a tabletop position. My dog is here doing her down dog for you. And come through a few cows and cats if you'd like, a few shifts back and forth. Curl your toes under. Inhale, cow pose. Exhale, downward facing dog. Lift your tail high and your heels low. When you're ready, inhale to take your left leg up and back, and exhale, open the hip and bend the knee, the three-legged dog. Now, I didn't mention it last time, but if you do like to flip over into Rockstar, Wild Thing, Wheel, whatever we're calling that thing where you flip over these days, feel free to do those experiments. Be mindful of what's around you. Be soft enough that if you come into contact with your house or your cat or whatever, it's a gentle meeting, not a hard one. When you're ready, use an inhale to take your left leg high and long, and exhale your left foot forward in between your hands and drop your right knee down. Bring your left arm to the inside of your left foot and toe heel it up and out. Lizard lunging. You might stay on your hands or come to your forearms. You might crawl underneath your left leg. Always optional to twist to the left and stretch the quad by bending the right knee. Remember that the experience is the thing. And how are you paying attention to your breath? Good. Slowly curl your back toes under and lift your right knee up off the mat. And inhale to one-footed dog once more. Take your left leg out, up, and back. Exhale to the downward facing dog pose. Inhale out into a plank, upward push-up position. And exhale to slow as you can, lower all the way down. I like to use my knees so my lower back doesn't get tense on the way. Tops of your feet down on the earth. And bring your chin or forehead down, or you can turn one ear to the mat or to stacked palms. And take a couple of breaths across the wideness of your upper back. And we're going to do a little bit of shalabhasana. Bring your hands under your shoulders, palms down if you move them, and slide them out wide a little. And you might tend to your fingertips or just start to walk your hands back. Now, when this happens, your shoulder blades are going to come forward to your ears in that way that all your yoga teachers tell you they shouldn't. Try not to worry too much about that. We won't be focusing on that part of the back quite as much. Exhale where you are, and inhale, lift your heart up. So you can always choose to have your hands back by your hips with your palms facing down or up. You can bend your elbows like Chaturanga Dandasana arms. Lift your legs too. Shalabhasana, arms and legs lift up. Other alternative arm options that I'm going to breathe and cue through are arms out to the sides with your palms facing forward, biceps forward and up. Arms back by the sides with palms facing down like airplane wings, or hands interwoven or grabbing a hold of a strap or a kerchief behind you to open the heart. It doesn't have to be super high up off the ground to be effective. I'm trying to find strength through the upper back as well as through the lower back. And usually using the upper back is more pertinent as the lower back is more dominant. And exhale slowly. Release your back strengthening action. Come down and maybe opposite ear to the earth, forehead or chin. You could always stack your hands underneath. And take a few exhales to really draw your navel up and back towards your spine. You might even squeeze your glutes a little as you do and tuck your tailbone so that your lower back expands, almost like someone in a novel is going to play croquet underneath your navel. Navel novel. If you'd like even more of this sort of rounding of your lower back, you might bend your knees and curl your toes under and see if that helps or discourages. And you might also press the tops of your flattened feet into the earth. For some of us, taking the arms out long and pressing the palms down in front of us will also feel good. Take a couple of more breaths. You can always release on the inhales and go back to this engaged Uddiyana Bandha action. If you have a Mula Bandha practice, gather the floor of your pelvis up as well. Good. And slowly exhale to release it. Bring your hands under your shoulders and inhale to press up. And exhale to press back to child's pose once more. And you might stack through your hands or palms. Settle your hips to your heels and breathe. Every time you inhale, this very small, defiant act of creation. Every exhale, small destruction. Noticing that you have this potential always to create and destroy, no matter what else there is in the purvey of your sense of self. slowly weighting your hips to your heels, draw yourself up to a seated position. You can keep your hips on your heels, or you can grab a hold of something to sit on and come into a cross-legged seat. We'll just do a little bit of neck traction. So when you're ready, drop your right ear to the right. And think about your left shoulder. Imagine it has like a gentle sandbag on it. It's dropping it down so it doesn't come along. Notice if you tense your inner left hip, etc. Try to relax those spaces. If you feel like you need more pressure, you are welcome to bring your right hand to the left side of your head. Resist the desire to pull. It tends to become too much for me. I tend to sort of kick back muscularly against it. You can also choose your chin a little more in and down towards your right armpit, or a little more up. And when you're ready, on an exhale, let your chin roll towards your chest. And as you do, continue to lift your heart up as if it's trying to meet your chin, puffing out the front of your ribs. Roll your shoulder blades down your back. And again, here you might just let your head hang as we did earlier in the Sphinx. You might interweave your fingers at the back of your head. Now you're just using the weight of your arms, letting your shoulders hang. There's not a pulling action. Remember, intensity sometimes creates tension. All that TENS root word there for a reason. And if you have a grip in the hands, release it and let your head roll over, left ear hanging over left shoulder. And again, it might be the same imaginary sandbag. Maybe it's a bluebird shaped sandbag on your shoulder, etc. Dropping the weight of your head as if it was just that weight that will hang and find evenness. Notice if tension cultivates in the center. Sometimes you might feel the abdominal muscles even light up and the weight of the head changes. Good, and gently let your chin roll back down to center. And you might even use your hands on your forehead to place your head back upright so your neck doesn't have to do so much work. Good, inhale your arms up overhead. And on your exhale, interweave your fingers. Flip your palms forward and up. Inhale. And on your exhale, bend your elbows straight out to the side. Bring the backs of your knuckles onto the top of your head. And inhale, press your palms straight up. Arms straightening to the degree that they can. And exhale to press the backs of your knuckles down onto the top of your head. Good, inhale to take them up. And this time, exhale, press your palms forward, about at heart height in front of you. Drop your chin towards your throat, round your upper back. Inhale, take your arms up, lift your heart up, maybe your gaze up. Exhale, round forward and down. And last time, inhale the arms up. And exhale, release the arms down. Take any seat or lift out from underneath you that you don't necessarily want to roll back onto. We're going to do one seated forward fold, but just on our way to our backs. Take your legs out long in front. Let's start with our bent knees and bring your heels down to the earth. Bring your hands on the sides of your knees or thighs and your elbows wide. Take an inhale, stick your tail out, puff your heart up. Exhale, fold forward towards your legs with a long spine. Think OG style, flat back until your chin comes down, and then roll. Round your back as you lean back to roll yourself up. Chin is the last thing to lift. Inhale, puff out your heart, and exhale, flattening your spine. Fold forward from your hips on the exhale. And drop your chin and use the inhale to roll around yourself up, leaning back on the way. Extend your heart up. Inhale last time, and exhale to fold forward. This time you might stay in the fold. You can flex your ankles and grab for your feet, or wrap a strap or a sweatshirt around it and hang your head. You might extend your legs out longer if your hamstrings are asking for that space. And slowly from your hips, dragging your head, round yourself up to sitting. And keep on rounding as you roll yourself all the way down onto your back. And once you're down on the back, bend your knees and plant the soles of your feet on the earth. Just one round of bridge pose. Exhale to press the low back down, tuck your tail, and inhale, lift your hips up. You might roll your shoulder blades together underneath. You're welcome to stack a block or any other support underneath your sacrum, that backbone of your pelvis. Try to let your neck stay neutral. Puff out your heart. Roll the domes of your shoulders out away from your center chest bone, your sternum. If your chin and your chest feel quite close already, you might consider softening your jaw and just not turning your gaze or your head, but just your eyes straight up towards the sky as opposed to down the line of your body. Good. Your next exhale, slowly roll down onto your back. Release your hands. And drop your both knees to the left. Spinal twisting. Take your right arm perhaps out to the right. You're welcome to stack your knees or to wrap your right leg over your left, or to send your left bottom leg out long so your right knee has more space to come down. I tend not to look left because it makes my neck feel wild, but if looking to the right feels really good for you, you're welcome to turn your head, your gaze. Most of the twisting benefit happens in the discs of our spine below the range of the neck. Good. Inhale your legs back through center and exhale them over to the right, maybe switching any cross or action that you're taking. You might take your left arm out to the left or gaze to the left. Things might be the same from side to side, but they might also be different. Good. Bring your legs back through center. And on your exhale, hug your knees into your chest, giving yourself a squeeze. You're welcome from here to move into any finishing postures that you like. You might have like a plow practice or a happy baby practice. There might be more twisting. There might be extending through one leg or the other. Sometimes necessary core work to tone out through the lower back. Sometimes we're already ready for resting. You don't have to invert or meditate or do any pranayama exercises. And if that's true, head to whatever form of rest you like. Often we rest on the back, legs long or in a comfortable folded shape. But you're welcome to rest on your side or your belly, or to rest in a seat, to choose a meditative seat in general. I was reminded this week that we practice yoga as a life practice, but also as a death practice. In a certain way, the fact that we have a context for our life overall in each moment that we're in it is its own kind of gift. And in the yoga practice, this lying down, this moment where we integrate, is an acknowledgement that things are happening in sort of our own universe and in the broad universe, whether or not we are taking them to hand. And that sometimes the time of rest is the most difficult or challenging time, a time where you already cast the spell, you already did the ritual. Now you have to allow, right, the tea brew, right? You have to let the magic occur. You have to let the process happen. Even that is observable, witnessable. And so here you might take it small, witness your natural breath, let your practiced Ujjayi breath soften down. You might focus on a mantra, an idea. If you're very image-based or sound-based in your mind, You might imagine or audio, as it were, create a soundscape in your mind, create an image-scape in your mind, which allows you, even in your perception of your ability to conceive of that sort of joy, hope, pleasantness, how things might be, is a step in that direction. When the time comes to move on, I'll call you up and out. Until then, practice paying attention to how things really are. Sahana vavatu, sahano bhunaktu, saha viryam karvavahai, tejasti navaditamastu, mavit vashavahai. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. If you're lying in rest and wish to remain as such, do. The time has come to return to action. Go to your breath and let it slowly rise in your awareness and purpose, just enough to become a waking action, to ride energy into the body and bring you back towards external awareness. And as you ride your breath, you can ride into any kind of movement you like. You might wiggle fingers and toes, shift from side to side, move your facial muscles around, run your tongue over your teeth. Let your actions be intuitive. Take your time to reawake the body. You might stretch out or up. The next 5 or 6 rounds of breath, next couple of minutes, gather your legs in towards your chest on an exhale. Roll over into your favorite side, the left side being more reflective and lunar perhaps energetically, the right side being more responsive and solar energetically. And I often suggest that we practice gratitude here at the end of the practice, really just for all of the contributing circumstances to our work in this lifetime, individually and collectively. You might consider the great miracle that we're on this planet, that the universe somehow began, the solar system and the planet cooled enough that life forms could rise to a level of consciousness that we can do a metaphysical practice in this way, that we can be in community with one another. You might consider the earth, how it is now, how it nourishes us. Consider the ancestors that came before yours and those of the land that you occupy. I'm here on Coast Salish, unceded land. You might consider the teachers of all kinds, education of all kinds that you've received, useful and unuseful, privileged and less privileged. Notice what you have experienced that has borne witness to you, that has validated and supported you, the communities, the individuals, the structures, that which has been an obstacle to you, the difficulties, the oppressions, the structures. And consider always that you yourself show up to the practice again and again to practice power, compassion, peace, truth. And that is a radical and un-everyday act, right? It is not necessarily what everyone is doing. And you deserve gratitude for yourself. And when you're ready, use your top hand to press yourself up into a seat. And we'll seal our time together. As you do, that's a traditional chant. It's pretty prevalent in lots of different lineages. I learned it in the Krishnamacharya lineage, Ashtanga practice. It reminds me of times in which my teachers have utilized it. And I also like it because it's about learning, right? About our practice together. It means maybe together as those who are learning, teaching, practicing, be protected. May we together know joy and peace. May our work together for the liberation of all be brilliant. May we not fight, hate, or dispute amongst one another, and may our work seek to lead us to universal and cosmic peace. If you wish, you can seal your practice by holding the context of non-dualism in the eye of your mind, a fluid idea of spectrum of everything. Or you could gesture that idea as a mudra, fold your hands into that Anjane shape, where right and left meet. Thank you for your time, your energy, your effort. If you wish, you might bring your thumbs to the third eye center, acknowledging that the workings of your mind must bow to the intuition of your heart. And if you wish, you could bow to yourself, seal your practice. Thank you for taking this time for yourself, for being with me and my partner here. We're out here in the San Juan Islands, a little bit cold outside filming this. And I want to remind you that half of the proceeds for video use for classes go to the Washington Black Trans Task Force. I want to encourage you to seek joy. If you need anything, feel free to reach out. I'll do my best to get back to you. Let me know what you need. Let me know if this is useful. And please remember that sliding scale, no one turned away for lack of funds, means use the resource, right? You and your interaction with this is far more important than the commodity of this resource. Please spread it to those who might need it. Thank you. Good to see you. Peace out.